Hello everybody, this is Barbie. I'm back today to show you what I've come up with. But first of all, I want to say hello and a big welcome to everybody, all my subbies. Our little crafting group has grown quite a lot since within the last couple of months. And I just want to tell you how much I appreciate all of you, all of your really sweet and kind comments and supporting my little YouTube channel, and I just hope I can continue to share whatever crazy idea I've got going on in my head with you, and that maybe if it's not exactly what you might like to do, maybe you can come up with your own spin on it. That's exactly how I come up with all of this, all these different ideas that come on, that that are churning around in my head. Is I may have watched a video by someone else who is doing something similar, and then I just take it and it just sort of evolves into its own thing. And I think that's the artistic part, and I think that's very healthy, and I think it's a really fun thing because everybody kind of has their own spin on it. So it's not, very rarely do you see a total duplication of what someone else did. Anyhow, let me move on here because I want to keep this as short as possible. Let me start out with this. This is what I did yesterday, and this is some of my no, this is not my collage. I can't remember whose collage this is. I think it's maybe Tracy Fox. I think it may be. Anyhow, I dug it out of my stash, so I can't say for sure, but I think it is. Anyhow, what I did is I wanted to have a play with envelopes. So I got out my envelope that I could find at the moment, and it was huge. It was too big for this little journal. So I decided I was just going to cut it in half. So this is what I ended up with. So I cut it directly in half. Then I just took it and glued it like so to the page before I put this paper in, of course. And then I took some more paper and glued it in here like so. And then of course just started covering it with whatever you want to cover it with. But there's a lot of people out there who are doing envelopes, so it's not as if it's any big unusual thing. But I wanted something here that was small that I could put a tag in, and so this is what I came up with. Now let me see if I'm in frame here. Yeah. So then I cut this one end open here, and I put a little journaling card inside, which is something I had. It's a old calendar. And that came from my stash. I have no idea where that came from. So also right here, I had to cut a little piece of paper and put in there because the way the envelope, was glued, it kept, every time I'd put this in here, it kept hitting. So what I did is I took a piece of paper, and I had to cut up several. And when I cut the piece of paper to put in there, I didn't want too much in there, so I cut it about a couple of inches down. Of course, I measured it here to see how wide the opening was, and just cut a little strip of paper like so. And then when I started to put it in there, it was like hitting the sides where the glue was. So then I kind of tapered it like so. And then that allowed me to stick it in freely. So I made sure it went in freely, and then I flipped it over and only glued about an inch down, because that is the only place that you're going to have any resistance when you put the tag in. And then I just merely, and that way also, if you don't glue it all the way down, when you start trying to slip it in, it won't start grabbing until you get it to the part you want to, which is the very top of the envelope. Anyhow, quick run over of what I did there. And also, I made a little this little whale's tail tag according to the instructions I got from Carol over at Old Cal's Journal. She had used a circle punch, and if you're interested in that, you can go over to her her website, and I'll put a link to her website if I don't forget. If I forget, somebody holler at me and I'll go in and add it. But anyhow, I'll put a link to her website, and I don't remember which video it is, but I'm sure you will be able to find it if you just glance through her videos. Anyhow, okay. Now, the next thing I decided to do was, after I got that all glued in and everything, and got my page decorated here, and this is this is a little digital I came up with, that I decided to make my own little digital for this. And I'm playing with different digitals to kind of get my feet wet. I've made one digital kit, but I want to expand a bit on it. Anyhow, so I did a little bit of collaging here, fussy cut some flowers out, put this little tab on, and I got my journal page. Now, you may be asking, what's that hole doing there for? Well, this is what I'm going to do today. Okay, we've talked about these little coin protectors, and I've done several things with coin protectors, as well as some ideas I got from Wendy. And I don't know if she did this or not, or how, exactly where it came from, but this is what came to me, and it may be from one of her demos, I can't remember. But I wanted to do a coin protector. Where is my other one I did? I had one little dried flower left, and I don't think I have any more dried flowers. Oh gosh, what did I do with that thing? Yeah, it's lost in the pile. Oh well, won't worry about that. I didn't have any more dried flowers is the point here. So, but I wanted to be able to see all the way through, and I didn't like the white on there, so I've decided to take and collage, or this collage of mine, and I have a hole punch, which I believe it is, let me measure it just so you'll know, because I wanted the hole punch to be the exact size of my, okay, it's 1.5 inches. So these are the large coin protectors, and you can get them on Amazon. Just go under coin protectors, and this is the one like for the silver dollars, I believe. Anyhow, I believe it was labeled as large. So my thought was, I want to be able to make that match totally. So what I did is, I'm going to do the other side here. This will only go so far in, if you know what I mean. So I found a spot, and I made sure I had plenty of room on either side so I could maneuver my coin protector. And then I just punched it out. And I'm saving these. This is what I made the whale's tail out of, by just folding it in half, like so. And then taking your, I use a 3/4, I believe it's a 3/4, yeah, 3/4 punch. And then you just go to the corner, the very corner of it. And I mean, it may not be exactly the same on both corners, and snip it off. I don't know why that didn't come off, right? My goodness. Anyhow, let me see if I can do that again. Maybe this paper's sort of flimsy. I don't know. Or this little punch has lost its punch. There you go. I just had to get it over to the side I don't use very much. And therefore it makes your little whale's tail, and get a little bit more off of that one. Like so. Then I inked around it just to give it a bit of dimension. Okay, so here we go. We got this hole punched out here. And this then will be glued. I used this small area up here right next to the fold, and I've already cleaned both sides with the alcohol wipe to make sure there's no dust or anything on it. And then I just hold it there to make sure it's good, and it is. And you see there's just a little bit of that leftover white there, which I'm going to ink. And then I'm very careful about making sure I don't get too much glue on here, or it will squirt out. So what I do is I just kind of get along the edge, and then just a little bit because this is kind of a glossy paper on here, and it doesn't absorb it all into the paper. So that's why it kind of squirts out if you're not careful. Okay, then you just find the hole and glue it down. Once it's glued good, you just take your scissors, cut around it. Now you can put dried flowers in here, you can put butterflies, you can put, whatever you want to put in here. It's pretty versatile. Just use your imagination. Now, there you go. So it's totally, oh, and I didn't go ahead and ink around that like I did the other side, but that's not a big problem. I do want to ink up here at the top and then around the edges, because the edges are white, kind of oil cardboard color. I don't want it to be cardboard looky. There you go. Then we're gonna, this is what I found. I found some old watch faces, and I put a little bit of lace between them, and I need watch face on both sides, so I glued them together with some 3-in-1 glue. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my page that I've already got my little hole punched out, which again, I held my thing up here and I decided my coin protector, and I decided how far in do I want to go with that. How far do I want this to stick out? Well, I like it to stick out a little bit on the top. I think it looks cool. So I left it sticking out a little bit less than half, but you can punch it however far in you want. You could punch it all the way in if you wanted to, you know what I mean? But this is where I wanted it. So what happens then is that this can be glued like so on one side, and you put your watch face in. So let's just go ahead and do that. Let's see, which way do I want to do it? I think I'll do it this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this aside, number one, before I mess it up. And also I have to make sure that this is at the top so that you can glue it properly. Okay, let me get my page over here. Make sure I don't have any glue down here. And we're going to put the page in. Make sure that it's somewhat level, if you know what I mean, level. Now, don't want any of the paper to be sticking out if I can keep from it. That looks good. There's a little rim there, but not much. Let me see if it's straight, because I need to straighten it a little bit. There you go. That looks good. Okay, so now you've got this really cool three-dimensional effect there, number one. Make sure this is straight. Yeah, it is. Okay, now our next thing, let me see if I can do it without that book so I can utilize this space here. Next thing we want to do is put our little watch face in. So I'd already measured it to make sure, you know, that it would fit, number one. So whatever it is that you want to put in there, make sure I'm in, yeah. Okay, so then this goes down like so, and then I'm going to glue it and I'm going to clamp it. So I'm going to use Fabri-Tac for this purpose. And again, I want to make sure I don't get too much Fabri-Tac in there. but enough to glue it good, because this has the what do you call it, acetate window, and I think you need the Fabri-Tac for that purpose. And also what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a dab of glue right there where that lace is, because I want to attach this a little bit. I think I'm going to put a little bit of Fabri-Tac right there in the middle. It'll dry clear. I don't want this moving around is my point. Make sure I got it in the middle. There. Now, once I got it in the middle there, everything's good to go, I'm going to take my little clamp and clamp it just to make sure that it's good and gets good and glued. Now, sometimes, I mean, and I don't know, maybe, you know, I should do that, but you can take the staple gun and staple it right here at the bottom too, which is how they seal coins in there so that you can remove them. So basically, that's my little page. Now, I think I'm going to put a little eyelet in here, and that way I can put a little charm or something on it. So, inside your book, let's just say, this is one of the pages, you're going to have this little with a charm or something sticking on it, or maybe a ribbon, or maybe some sari silk or something like that, to give the top of your book some fluff. So that was my thought on that. Okay, that's the page. Now, my thought is, and I don't want to make a long video because it takes so long to download, but I'm going to tell you kind of what I've got in mind here. And I may come back and make a video if I come up with a good idea. I pulled out all of my envelopes, all different size envelopes, some glassine bags I had, some tea bags. This is a note card out of cardstock, and that just hasn't been folded yet, so I pulled that out. Another type of envelope, another envelope, another size envelope, a little bag, there's another envelope. Here's a CD case without a window in it. I thought maybe I could use that like an envelope. I've already got a little bag. And there's another envelope. So, today when I was watching Gail Agostinelli, I believe that's how you pronounce it. I kind of get my tongue twisted on that name. Sorry, Gail. But I was watching her this morning, and she was doing something with an envelope. So as she was doing it, I thought I knew what she was going to do, but she did something totally different in her configuration. So I thought, well, that may be a little challenge for me, is to pick a couple of envelopes. I think she only used 2. I've got to get it to the right size that I can utilize it in my little book. Most of the envelopes are like too big. So, you know, even though this one is almost too big, I could use it as a pocket and cut it here. So do some sort of configuration with overlapping envelope type situations. That's what I'm thinking. Now when she did hers, she just used it as a free-form envelope that she had put all together. And then she just took it, and when it was done, and lapped it over and did it like so, which is, you could do that as well, and I may. But what I was thinking is, I would like to do something that I could incorporate into my journal and actually stitch into the journal. maybe as a center of a signature or something. That's my thought. So that's what I'm going to be working on today. And if I come up with something very unusual or something that I think is really worth mentioning or even showing you, I'll come back and do either a short tutorial, or I'll come back and explain what it is, like I did with this right here, which is very simple way to do something. So doesn't really require a tutorial. Then I'll come back and show you what I've gotten done. So that's my little video for the day. I hope y'all are having a wonderful day crafting, enjoying the day, doing whatever it is you're interested in doing. And I'm gonna get off this video and get busy and see if I can accomplish something today. So I hope this will be beneficial for you and get your artistic juices flowing. And I would love to see what it is that you come up with. So if you decide to try it and you come up with something you'd like to share it, well, please share it. And we'll just all learn and have fun together. So until next time, this is Barbie saying bye, 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 bye. Have a beautiful day.